Hi there, I'm Paul Mitchell, leadership coach, author and founder of The Human Enterprise. Welcome to Mentoring with Mitch, where we answer your questions about leading at home, at work and in your community. And today's question is a very interesting one, and it's one that, not exactly this question, but it's a situation I often see from time to time in my work. It's from a newly appointed GM from a fast-moving consumer goods company who was the sales director. So they've moved from sales director into general manager. I'm loving my new role, but the sales function is not running how I believe it should be operating. Sales are still good and the new sales director is a good operator, but I find myself spending much more time in the function, in fact more than I should. I don't want our standards to slip, but there is so much work to be done elsewhere as a relatively new general manager. Yeah, there's always a lot of work to do as a GM and always a lot of new stuff to do if you've gone from a sales director role where you're managing a function to managing a total business. So the first thing I want to say is you are not alone. I think I've said that before. I see this all the time. And I want to send out a provocation to you that probably doesn't answer your question, but does get you to hopefully to look at your own behaviour. Sometimes what happens, some of our activities have a secondary gain, what we call a secondary gain. They're not doing what we think they're doing. On the surface they're doing something, but they're also, there's a gain that you're getting which is often unconscious. So on the surface it looks like you're helping that sales director get better and manage the function better, but it could be a diversion. It could be a diversion. You could be masking something that you're not facing into. What do I mean by that? Give us some examples from my past clinical life. I would sometimes see patients or clients coming in and all of a sudden they were depressed for no reason whatsoever. When we started to unpack that, what we found is there would often be a trauma, often it was a bereavement or massive grief of some sort, and they never faced into it. They never looked at their grief. They never allowed themselves to grieve. They just got straight back into work because they had to. But all of a sudden, when they've got some space and they can think, the grief overpowers them. And so the work itself, the work was a masking or a diversionary activity so they wouldn't have to face up to their grief. Now you might think, well, what the hell's that got to do with the corporate world? A great deal. Because some of the diversionary activities or the masking activities that I see are excessive drinking. It might look like fun, but hey, 1-2 bottles of wine a night, a dozen beers can cause all sorts of issues further down the track. It might be going to exotic locations, exotic holidays. Now, nothing wrong with that as long as you can pay for it, but I often see some executives mounting up massive debt just to go on those holidays. It might be buying boats or luxury cars. Again, nothing wrong with that if you've got the money or the cash flow to do it. Sometimes it's buying clothes or going on shopping sprees. The other thing is taking little mini risks, so where you might be, just taking a little bit out of petty cash for a particular luncheon here, or having long luncheons. But constantly doing these is a masking activity. In fact, so much I've labelled it what I call coma. You really are asleep. You're in a coma, and coma stands for constant obsessive masking activity. So my question to you is, do you really need to be involved in sales as much as you are at the moment, or is it a masking activity because you're not facing into your demons about what it means to be a GM? You may not know what it means to be a GM. It's way outside your comfort zone, but actually managing the sales function is. So, just a thought. So what can you do about it? Well, a couple of things. First of all, there's some questions you can ask your sales director, and then there's some questions you can ask yourself. The first question, of course, is are your interventions seen as interruptions? Are they seen as useful, or are they seen as getting in the way? Pretty important. Second question is to ask about not just the WIP, the work in progress, we all know what a WIP is, but ask about RIP, relationship in progress. How are we doing? What's working for us, what's not? Go through your thoughts on the detail, the amount of detail you think is required, and get their thoughts on the amount of detail that's required. And let them know what the amount of detail you need to feel comfortable that they've got the situation under control. So there's some questions or some thoughts about working with them. What about yourself? Here's where it's even more important. So some questions to ask yourself. Am I really clear on what it means to be a GM? Am I really clear on the sorts of things I should be doing? If it is masking? Am I getting more involved with sales than I should because I might be masking something? What is it that I'm masking? What do I need to lean into? And then who can I talk to about this? Don't hold it in. You don't have to make it on your own. Get some help, get a coach, bounce it off someone who's been in that position. And very, very quickly, you'll absolutely fly. So the bottom line is take the focus off what they're not doing and look at your own behaviour and ask yourself, is my behaviour simply a masking activity because I'm unsure of something somewhere else, I haven't faced my demons and I need to get help in some way. So, hope that helps. Would love to hear how you're going. Hey, thanks for watching. Hope that's helped or at least given you a couple of first steps. And if you have questions about leadership at home, leadership at work, or leadership in your community, we would love to hear from you. Please visit mentoringwithmitch.com and we'll get through as many questions as we can. And also subscribe so you make sure you get to hear every episode. And importantly, if you've got friends or colleagues or even family that you think would benefit from hearing some of these answers or some mentoring with Mitch, please make sure you share with them as well. Until next time, find the passion, develop the skills, make the numbers, and make a difference.